Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another wonderful, fun-filled episode of Watch Me Wrench with your host, Mr. Wrench. Alright, so we all know my videos are not so wonderful and fun-filled. Let's just get that out of the way. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the video you've all been waiting for. The Corvette is back. She's been under the knife for quite some time. It's been a brutal winter, very cold. I apologize for the lack of videos. So, what's been done to the car? A lot's been done to the car. Let's go over that. I'm currently working on the car, so my garage is a mess. So what do we have? Okay, let's start up over here. Underneath the bell housing, we have a Mantic twin disc clutch. Over here we have an MGW short throw shifter. Over here we have East Coast Supercharger trans diff brace. It's got 4 bars going across from front to back and one going that way. We have a secondary fuel system. The car is going to be set to run on, it can run on 93 octane and it can run on E85. The meth sensor is mounted up by the motor. I'll show you guys that in a minute. And I have East Coast Supercharger torque tube brace. This is actually getting redone right now. I'm redoing it. It wasn't done right the first time. This actually didn't come with any instructions, so I could see how and why some people might install this wrong. But luckily I caught it, and something didn't seem right to me, so I went on their website. They didn't have instructions on their website either. I called them and then they emailed me the instructions, and I'll go over why this gets installed wrong, and hopefully people could use my video as a reference so it gets installed right. Alright, let's go take a look at the motor. Okay, so here we have all the fuel lines are now they were changed from was it -6 to -8, so they're larger fuel lines. So here is the fuel line from the secondary fuel pump. Here is the factory fuel line. So the secondary fuel system will be activated off of a Hobbs switch, which is right there. So when the car hits a certain amount of boost, then the secondary fuel system will kick in. The fuel pump and the fuel pressure regulator are actually mounted behind this panel. The fuel pressure regulator is set to 60 psi. Here is the sensor. You got -8 lines going around, and it connects to that fuel rail, feeds across here, and boom. So that is the secondary fuel system. And then one modification that I'm actually most proud about, just hold on a minute, let me show you that. So here is the intake that the Procharger comes with. I've always hated this thing. It's hideous looking. I never liked it. I always thought it killed the looks of the car. So I made that one. So I had to get a collar that is a reducer. I forgot the size. I think it's from like 3.75 down to 3.5. This actually took a while to do. This started off as a 24-inch long, 45-degree elbow. And I just had to keep cutting and trimming and cutting and trimming, and I eventually got it to fit really nice. But that just looks so much better than this thing. I know it sounds silly, but I've always hated this and I've always wanted to get rid of it. But luckily the A&A Corvette Supercharged Procharger bracket has the Procharger sitting up higher, which allowed me to do this. If I didn't have that, I would have had to have modified the radiator. I see some guys actually dent the radiator. So I just had to cut these little fins here, and that was it. And it fits perfect. But if you look around, you see some photos, guys actually will smash the radiator down or get a shorter radiator, but I have no heating issue, so I didn't want to get a different radiator since this factory one is working just fine. So the car is going to be able to run on E85 or regular 93. However, I'm going to run something different, which is going to give me an advantage. I'm not going to say what it is just yet. I'll save that for the dyno video. I am shooting for, what did we make? 670 horsepower to the rear wheels and 600 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm going to go for I'm going to shoot for 770 wheel horsepower and about 650 to 675 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm shooting for another 100 horsepower. We're also going to be changing the pulley, which I have on the bench. The car made, what, 8.5 pounds of boost, and on 8.5 pounds of boost we made 670 rear wheel horsepower, which is very good. So I'm shooting for 12. I got a pulley that traditionally makes 15 pounds of boost. However, with the bigger heads and cam, I'm going to lose a couple pounds. So I'm hoping to see 12 pounds of boost at the intake manifold. Another thing which I just realized, which I didn't think about, which I'm not happy about because it's another $500. The blow-off valve that the Procharger comes with, it's kind of good only up to 10 pounds of boost. And since we're probably going to make 12 pounds, I have to go with a different blow-off valve. So I'm going to go with the Procharger, what I think it's called the Big Red Race Valve. That's $500. So I have to get that. I also have to get line lock, so I can do burnouts really good. You have to understand, when you do a burnout with a stick shift car, you're putting so much strain. With any car, you're putting so much strain on the drivetrain. But on a stick shift car, you're putting so much strain on that clutch. And this clutch was almost $3,000, so I'm going to do the line lock. So I just have to buy the line lock, the blow-off valve. I'm going to put some ARP stronger studs on the rear. I did the front already. I signed up for Slipstream Roll Racing event in Pocono Raceway. That's June 30th, so I will be there. Hopefully the car is ready. Well, I should say, hopefully the car is ready, and then I'll be there. But I already paid, so it's locked in. I've only driven the car 5 or 6 miles with the new clutch. And let me tell you, you have to relearn how to drive the car because it's a totally different car with the twin disc clutch. Hopefully it gets better with the brake-in. I'm told it will. Now, the Mantic twin disc clutch, believe it or not, is actually, I've gotten from 2 different sources. I was told 20 and another source said 30 pounds. So the Mantic twin disc clutch is 20 to 30 pounds lighter than the factory clutch. Now you also get a Billet flywheel with the Mantic twin disc clutch. So between the flywheel and the clutch, the Mantic clutch, you're 20 to 30 pounds lighter than the factory flywheel and clutch. And, which I didn't know this, but when you go to start the car for the first time, it's not going to be happy, and it has to be retuned because there's so much less weight on the rotating assembly that the car doesn't want to idle properly. It idles like garbage. It's revving up and down, up and down. Even when you start the car, you could feel that there is less weight on the rotating assembly because the motor just spins over so fast. But less weight on the rotating assembly also equals more horsepower. So I think between the less weight on the rotating assembly, 3 more pounds of boost, running my special fuel, my secretive fuel I should say, or even E85, I think we will easily achieve another 100 horsepower. I could be wrong. I'll be happy with 750, but I'll be ecstatic with 770. That's my goal. I had previously guessed 670 horsepower when I did the heads and cam and all that other stuff, and I was right on the money, 670 exact. So let's go to the bench now. Here is my new pulley. This is a 3.85 inch pulley. I have a 4.1 inch pulley that's in there now. So this is good traditionally for 15 pounds of boost. I'm hoping to make 12. That's where we are. I'm just gonna wipe down everything, clean off all the dirt, fingerprints, put the exhaust back in. Oh, and then the one little interference was, if you can hear that, the exhaust pipe on the passenger side was hitting the East Coast Supercharger brace, since the bolts stick out further now. So I'll have to figure out, it's just hitting one bolt up on top. It was making some noise, so I just have to figure that out. And then the car should be good. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be driving it again. I'm going to put, several hundred miles on the car, and then it's going to go on the dyno. And the only place I trust with my car is JTM Motorsports in Deer Park, New York. They are, honestly, they're Long Island's premier LS speed shop. I shouldn't just say Long Island, probably New York. They're really busy, and they have cars coming to them from all over the country. Last time I was there, there was 2 cars from a speed shop from Florida that had to be redone. They're the go-to guys, and their tuning department is, superior to any other. So they did the tune the first time, and they'll do it again this time. They'll work their magic. I have confidence in them. And that's it. All right, so let me get to work. Let me put this thing back together so I could drive it hopefully tomorrow. Put some more miles on it, break in that clutch. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Oh, I bought some tools to make my life easier. I really needed this. And, it's expensive. I never bought it because it's so expensive. It's like, what, $900 delivered. This is a sliding center jack, and it just makes raising the car off the ramps so much easier. So let's just say I wanted to change the brake pads. I just slide this in place. These things pull out. I add the rubber feet here, and I just jack it up. Ideally, you'd want 2 of those, but I'm not that rich. So this way you could lift, the front and the back of the car at the same time. So if you wanted to rotate the tires or do the brakes, you could get the car off the 4-post lift and these ramps real easily. Because you guys saw how I had to do it when I made my videos on how to remove and install the steering rack. It honestly took like an hour to get the car up and an hour to get the car down. And it's very sketchy and dangerous, and I'm nervous as hell when I do shit like that. So I got that sliding center jack. I got 4 of these pull jack stands. I got this grinder here with a stand. Okay, so I got the, I also got the 12-ton press, hydraulic press, because you guys saw I had a lot of trouble pressing in the studs on the front because the small little Harbor Freight press I had just couldn't cut it, and none of the local shops around here wanted to even help me with that. So screw them, I'll be able to do it myself. I got this drill press, and under here I got this bench mounted sander. It's got the wheel here, and it's got the disc there. So that's come in handy. Let me just show you, this is the case that you get with that Mantic twin disc clutch. I mean, for $3,000, for almost $3,000. What do you expect? Hold on, let me get this open. Even the way this thing opens is unique. Pretty cool. It's got thick padding. And this isn't foam. This is like felt, some type of material. This part is foam. You got stickers. So not bad. A lot of people use this for a gun case. Some of the items that have been installed in the car over the past few months, I've had them for a long time. For example, the MGW short throw shifter, the East Coast Supercharger torque tube brace, I believe they call it torque tube tamer, and the East Coast Supercharger trans diff brace. I've had those for like a year and a half, sitting in my closet in my house. Right after I did the dyno video and I saw how much power it was making, I knew the car was going to need a little more help, and I knew the clutch was going to have to be done eventually, so I ordered those 3 parts first, and then, you know, just recently the clutch was done. So I knew, you know, I knew in order to install those products with ease, you know, the clutch would have to be done first so that everything could be dropped, so that you could access, you know, the differential, the transmission, and all that. So I have been accumulating parts slowly and surely, but those 3 items, the shifter, the torque tube tamer, and the trans diff brace, I've had those for like a year and a half sitting in my house. Again, because I knew with the kind of racing I wanted to do, I knew the car was going to need a little more support and help. Alright guys, so let me get back to work. Let me get this thing back together. I guess I'll make another video on correcting some of the issues with the torque tube brace. For those of you who have installed this already with no instructions. So that's pretty much it. Alright, thank you for watching. If you could please click the like and subscribe button. And guys, if you could continue to watch me wrench, I really appreciate it. Thank you and have a great day.